Welcome back to El Chef Bigotes. Today, we're making some delicious lemon pepper chicken wings. So when we talk about chicken wings, obviously there's so many different options, so many different flavors. Some people prefer them with a dry rub. Some people prefer them to be a little saucy. Some people like them sweet. Some people like them spicy. And so there's really an infinite amount of options that you can have when it comes to preparing and seasoning your chicken wings. Today, what we're going to be trying is a lemon pepper chicken wings. And so what we're going to do is a lot of times the lemon pepper wings are more of a dry rub. What we're going to be doing today is the lemon pepper seasoning with some added lemon, and we're also going to be serving it with a lemon aioli, which takes it up to a whole other level when it comes to the lemon flavor. On top of that, we're going to add another layer of flavor by smoking them. We're going to be using the kettle grill today to smoke them as well. So why don't we start by preparing the wings. And what I have here is about 2.5 pounds, almost 3 pounds of chicken wings. I asked the butcher to give me 24 wings. I asked if he can give me about half and half of the flats and the other half of the drumettes. That's another little debatable situation there as well, right? Some people prefer the flats, other people prefer the drumettes. I'm a flat guy myself, but it's all a preference. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a little bit of lemon pressed olive oil. We're going to be putting a little bit of extra pepper as well on top of the seasoning. This just happens to be a store-bought lemon pepper seasoning. Obviously, there's a lot of different options out there. This one I really like. It's got a really lemony flavor to it. We're also going to be using the juice of one fresh lemon, and I also have here the zest of another lemon. All right, so what I like to do is put just a little bit of the olive oil, the lemon olive oil. Again, we're going to be adding flavor on flavor here. So we got lemon pressed olive oil. We're going to put in the lemon seasoning, lemon pepper seasoning. I'm going to add in a little more coarse pepper to taste. I'm a big pepper guy, so I'm going to put a little bit extra. And then we're going to go ahead and squeeze in the juice of one lemon. Again, this is going to be a very lemony recipe. I hope you love lemon. Now, when it comes to the lemon zest, I'm only going to use about half of it now, and you'll see we'll use the other half a little bit later in this recipe. So then we'll start just kind of mixing this up a little bit. We might have to put a little more seasoning as we mix this around. From a food safety perspective, one thing I would recommend is keep one hand free of the chicken, and that way it leaves it free for you to grab the seasoning or the olive oil bottle, because obviously when it comes to chicken, you want to be careful with not creating bacteria on your work surface. So anytime you're dealing with poultry, including chicken, obviously, anything you touch, you disinfect afterwards. So you disinfect the bowl, the cutting board. If you had to touch any kind of bottles or anything, you want to make sure that you disinfect those right away. So we'll put a little more pepper here. So again, just important also, right, when you're dealing with food, don't forget about the food safety part of it as well. You don't want to get yourself or anybody else sick. We're going to let these sit for a few minutes. So on a related topic with the food safety, remember that chicken, you really don't want to leave it out more than an hour. What I like to do is, as I'm preparing or marinating the chicken, I've already turned on the charcoal chimney outside. And so in the amount of time approximately that it takes for the charcoal to get ready and get hot and I pour it over, at that time, the chicken has already been marinating long enough. You can certainly marinate it a lot longer for this particular recipe though. 30 minutes to an hour of marinating is more than enough. Okay, let's go set up the grill. So today we're going to set up our kettle grill as a smoker. The charcoal is kind of to the sides, right? And so what we're going to do is when we put the grates on, we're going to put the chicken in the center. And not only are we going to be putting charcoal, but we're also going to be using today some applewood chunks that we'll be putting into these baskets as well. And so what happens in this case is that the charcoal is what's helping create the heat, and then the applewood chunks is what's going to create the smoky flavor onto the chicken. So let's put this on. I'm going to put on the grate, and then we'll come back to put on the chicken. Okay, I wanted to mention a couple things here. Typically on a kettle, I do not monitor the internal temperature. I usually only do that when I'm using the offset smoker. However, today's kind of a windy day. And so when it's windy like this, it will affect the internal temperature because the wind will go kind of inside of the kettle, creating more oxygen, creating more heat. So what I did here is I took my thermometer, my Thermo Pro, you can see, actually it's dropped it down a little bit, down to 390, which is good. And what I just did is I fed it into the vent underneath. And over on top, just kind of feed it through the bottom grate, and I'm just keeping the thermometer kind of to the side here. Don't put it obviously right over the coals because that's going to be reading super hot, but if I leave it a little bit to the side, you should be okay. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that right now, this guy's hovering around 400 degrees internal in the kettle. That's quite high. You can cook these wings at 400, but they'll get done pretty quickly. And the problem with that is that the faster they cook, the less smoky flavor you're going to get on them. So you do have a couple different options here. You can either instead of using 2 piles of charcoal or 2 of those little baskets, you can just use 1. Now you might have the opposite problem. The temperature is going to drop probably into the 200, 225 range. And then it's just going to take you a lot longer to cook your wings, which again, if you have the time, is not a problem. You get extra smoke flavor. But I think for the sake of this, you probably want to stay around 300, 350 at the most. And if it starts dropping a little bit, I would just let it ride. I don't plan on putting any more charcoal in here once it starts, once I put the chicken on. I might put a few more wood chips just to keep creating the smoke. But I shouldn't have to put any more charcoal throughout the entire cook, because this should take about an hour to an hour and a half. We'll have to see how it goes. But those are just a couple things, couple of observations. One other little safety factor too, sometimes if it's windy enough, these kettle grills don't weigh very much. They're kind of lightweight. And so I noticed it was starting to slide a little bit. And so all I did was put my bag of charcoal here just to keep the grill from moving. So just a little safety tip there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and put the chicken on here. Okay, you kind of want to space them out, keeping them kind of away from the... We're not going to put them directly over the heat. We're going to put them to the side because, again, we're trying to get these to kind of get more of the smoky flavor. Like I said earlier, this is about 24 wings. It's about it's almost 3 pounds. You also don't want to put any near the thermometer, because if you get it too close to the thermometer, you might affect the reading. So we're just going to leave these like this. We're going to cover it up and we're just going to let them ride. While those are smoking in there, we're going to make ourselves an amazing, delicious lemon aioli dipping sauce. Okay, obviously there's a bunch of different sauces that you can use for wings. A lot of people just like ranch or blue cheese, which fine, if that's what you like, no problem. But being that we are making lemon pepper, I wanted to make a nice lemon aioli. There's different ways to make the aiolis. For now, we're just going to use good old-fashioned mayonnaise as a base. So I've got here a cup of mayonnaise, and what you're going to do is take the zest of 1 lemon. You're going to put the juice of the entire lemon that you just removed the zest from. I also like to put a little bit more, maybe about a teaspoon of the lemon infused olive oil. And then again, you guys know me and pepper. I'll put a little more pepper in there as well. And just mix that up. And that's it. That's what it's gonna look like. It's nothing but nice, delicious, lemony flavor in there. So what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna put this in the fridge while we're finishing our cook of the chicken. I like to leave it in the fridge at least an hour. If you can let it go even 2 hours, it's even better. Okay. It's been about 45 minutes. And look at these guys, they look pretty good. Use our thermometer to see how we're doing. Yeah, so you see the kind of the drumettes are running around 150. Yep. The flats are probably going to be done. Yeah, see the flats are already hitting the 165. So like I said, these were done a little bit faster than expected, only because of the wind. The wind played a big factor today. And so these little flat guys are done. The other thing to keep in mind is these drumettes are pretty small. And so when they're this small, they're gonna also cook quite quickly. If you can find a little bit of thicker ones, it's even better. Obviously not only are they meatier, they take a little bit longer to cook over the smoke as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking off some of the flats, which have already hit the mid 160s. Remember the target temperature for chicken, 165. And so, but we'll take them off about 162, 163, which some of the flats have already achieved. So we'll take those off first, and we'll let the drumettes go a little bit longer. So a couple things we've done. Number one is I washed off the tongs with soap and water, so health safety there. The other thing I did is I just kind of put these little drumettes directly over the heat, just for a little bit. Toast them up a little bit on the outside. Again, just adding different layers of flavor here. So you've got the smoky flavor, you've got the lemony flavor, you've got the lemon pepper flavor. Now you've got a little bit of the direct charcoal flavor. Again, you can see this wind is really kicking my butt a little bit out here today. Every time there's a little gust of wind, it kind of picks up the heat and also throws around a little bit of ashes. The wind, sometimes a little bit tougher to work around. We're going to go ahead and remove these. I'm coming out with a nice, beautiful, toasty color. You can see they look fantastic. They look delicious. Look at that color. They smell really good too. My goodness. There we go. A little bit toastier. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That looks good. Delicious. Again, don't leave them on too much longer. I'm just putting them on a little bit for a little bit of crunchiness to them. But if you cook them too long, they're going to get dried out. So I'm going to take these off. Okay, these are ready to go. So I'm taking off all the flats, and what I've done is I've moved all the drumettes kind of towards the center here. These are running at about 154, 155 right now. So I just kind of moved them towards the middle, a little bit further away from the heat. I want those to smoke a little bit longer. Kind of rotate them all, and we'll let these ride for probably another 15-20 minutes. Let these get up to at least the 162 mark, 163. So we're going to cover those back up. The other thing I'm going to do is cover these up as well. Not only is that going to help them stay warm, but it's also going to help them kind of rest, get a little bit juicier in there, and I'll take those back inside. And then we're just going to cover this back up. And then we'll go a little bit longer with this thicker one. 140s, 150. Here we go, 150s. So I'm going to go ahead and put these right over the heat source for a little bit, like we did last time. Make them a little bit toastier. And let those sit just for a little bit. I'm going to cover them just to protect them from the wind a little bit. This wind is really, really tough, those little gusts. Turn them over a little bit. Man, these things smell good. Once again, this is around the time my neighbors are not happy with me. Maybe I should start inviting them, huh? Maybe if I invite them, they won't be as angry. Oh yeah, these are looking delicious. Yeah, look at that. Juicy, crispy. You can see all the seasoning on there. Holy smokes. All right, let's go ahead and take these off once again. We're going to put them with the others. There's only about a 8-minute difference between the flats and these, so it wasn't that big of a difference. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That looks delicious. Look at that toastiness, seasoning. You can see they're juicy. Man, we are ready to roll. Alrighty, the last little lone soldier here is done. Let's take this one off and let's go back inside. Now it's my favorite part. Let's taste. First, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a drumette. One of the nice looking crunchy ones. Yum, yum, yummy. Yummy, yummy for my tummy. I'm gonna try it without the aioli first, and let's see what it tastes like. I can definitely taste the pepper. Not too much lemon. On this case, just a little bit of lemon, but it's really juicy, really tasty. Even that little crunch on the outside. But my goodness, that is a good tasting wing right there. Now my favorite ones are the flats, right? The little flat guys. On this guy, I'm gonna put a little bit of the aioli, and let's see what that tastes like. Alrighty. That aioli took it to a whole other level. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you like lemon pepper and you like lemon flavored foods, this is gonna be one of your favorite lemon pepper wings you're ever gonna have. That aioli is fantastic. And so look, check it out, try it. Try this recipe at home, put your own different touch on it if you like. So those were some good chicken wings. You know, perhaps if you don't want to try the lemon aioli, no problem. You can still try, you know, if you prefer ranch, you prefer blue cheese, more traditional, that's fine too, it's no problem. But these lemon pepper wings, I'm telling you, with that lemon aioli, took it to a whole other level. So I hope you enjoy that. So what did we learn on this video? Well, I think we learned several things, right? Number one, I think we figured out how to use the kettle as a smoker. You know, it runs at a higher temperature, as we learned. I'll be honest that the wind was really kicking my butt out there today. It did cause the temperature to rise and stay pretty high throughout the cook. It was hovering a little bit over 300 for most of the cook. So that's why it only took like 45 minutes to finish all those wings. Typically, if you're running it at a lower temperature, it's going to take more like an hour, hour and a half, perhaps even a little bit more. If you want more of the smoky flavor, and these had a nice smoky flavor to them as well. I forgot to mention that when I was tasting it, but there is a little bit of a subtle smokiness, which is provided by the apple wood. The other thing you can do is if you want to run them in the smoke a little bit longer, you can do that. You can either keep charcoal on both sides, either with the basket or without the basket. You can have less charcoal on both sides, or you can just put the charcoal on the one side. The only watch out on that is that if you put the charcoal only on one side of the grill, you probably want to monitor and kind of rotate the chicken throughout the cook, because you definitely will have a lot more heat towards the side where the pile of charcoal is versus the other side. That's why I kind of prefer baskets on both sides, because it provides a little more of an even cook. You know, that method is also considered to be like offset or indirect. You know, we didn't put the chicken over the charcoal until the very end, and so kind of that indirect heat also helps it to cook a little bit slower, a little more tender. You get a little more smoke, and that's the method that we use today, using the kettle grill as a smoker. You know, let's just say that you needed to cook way more wings. You know, we only did 24 wings today. That's not a lot. That might be enough for, 2 or 3 people. But if you needed to make a lot more wings, then that's when you'd want to go to an offset smoker or a bigger size grill, right? Because on a 22-inch kettle, you're kind of limited to the space and how much chicken you can put on it in a given time. And being that it does take hour and a half, you know, if you try to make too many wings on the kettle grill, it's going to take you hours and hours and hours to be able to feed your entire party. So that's when you want to use a bigger grill if you have that. The other thing I failed to mention earlier is that let's just say you don't have a grill, and let's just say you don't have a smoker, and let's just say that you don't even have charcoal, you don't have a place at home to even have a smoker. No problem. Everything we discussed on this video can also be done in the oven. In the oven, you probably want to run it around 250, 300 degrees and kind of just watch the internal temperature until it reaches the 162, 163 degrees. You can put them in a lasagna tray. You can put them in an aluminum tray. You can put them on a cookie sheet. You may want to cover them with some aluminum foil as well. Let them kind of steam inside. And so you'll get really fantastic results as well. You're just not going to get the smoky flavor. But you'll still get the lemon, you'll still get the seasonings, you can still make your lemon aioli, and these things will still come out very, very good, even without the smoky flavor. The other thing we talked about, right, is food safety. Remember, when you're dealing with chicken, be very careful. And so when you're done preparing it and seasoning it and dealing with and handling all that chicken, you want to wash everything with some soap and water. You want to wash the tongs, you want to wash the cutting board, the bowl, the knife. I even replace the gloves after I'm dealing with raw chicken. I go ahead and toss these out, and then I just get another set and start dealing, once you start handling the cooked chicken. The other thing that you might ask is, how many chicken wings will I need? Well, it kind of depends on several factors, right? Number one is probably the size of the chicken wings. The ones I got today were pretty small from the local supermarket. But there's some butchers out there, some markets that will sell much bigger, heartier wings, and meatier wings. And so obviously the bigger the meatier, you probably can get away with a little bit less. But the other factor maybe to consider is, are you going to serve it as the main entree, or are you going to serve it like as an appetizer? You know, maybe you were in charge of taking wings to your party to watch the big game, or to watch a sporting event, or just to get together with friends. You know, what I like to typically do is, if it's going to be an appetizer, I estimate 3 to 4 wings per person as an appetizer. But if the chicken wings are going to be the main dish, and you're going to serve it with a couple other little sides, in that case, you probably can go higher, right? 8, 10, maybe even 12, depends on how hungry everybody is. If that's going to be the case, that you're going to make it the main course. But you know, chicken wings for the most part are an appetizer or side dish. The other thing I like to do too is I'll take extra wings, and so, you know, people get to the party, they start eating the wings, and then they start eating some of the main entrees, and then everybody's watching the game, and then maybe a little bit towards the end of the game, people start getting hungry again, right? It's been a few hours. I'll throw them back in the oven for a little bit, warm them back up, serve them again, and I promise you, there is never any spare wings. So that's it for now. I'm gonna plate these things up. I'll show a couple pictures of what they look like once they're plated, with the aioli and a little bit of lemon zest over the top of them. and they not only look great, but they're going to taste even better. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoy them lemony lemon pepper wings. I hope you enjoy the recipe. I hope you enjoy the wings. I hope your family likes them, your friends like them. And that's it for now. So for the time being, sas mi tantan. Welcome back to El Chef Bigotes. Today, we're going to be cook. And so today, what we're going to be trying is a lemon pepper, lemon. Holy smokes. That took it to a whole other level. Little piece of pepper got stuck right there. Yeah.